The Hill claiming that the GOP is making the IRS a boogeyman. They write this, quote, as Republicans rail against the FBI in the wake of last week's search at Mar-a-Lago, they're also hyping the danger to voters from another three-letter federal agency, the IRS. The piece was presented as straight news, not an opinion piece. Meantime, Washington Post fact-checker Glenn Kessler tweeting in part yesterday, quote, the GOP is preying on people's fear of an audit, which is basically nil. Joining me now, Ohio Congressman Brad Wenstrup. He is a member of the House Intelligence and Ways and Means Committees. It's not nil, Congressman, but what do you make of this? Ooh, you're vilifying the IRS. People are already afraid of the financial authority of this, I would call it an institution, but this agency.
I agree with you 100% on that, Dagan, and I read that article, and it certainly is very misleading. The American people already have a distrust of the IRS. I mean, as recently as Lois Lerner and the actions that she took, but no one ever views the IRS as some caring parental agency that's going to reach out to you to try and help you fill out your tax return or something like that, right? So now you're adding all these people, and the intention is for audits, right? They have said that this is how we're going to pay for all this spending we're going to do, is we're going to start collecting more from people and finding out ways that maybe they did something wrong. And I'll tell you, when you get down to it, and there's supposed to be like 700,000 audits that take place, and a lot of those are going to go, it's estimated that half of them are going to go to people that make $75,000 or less. When you get an audit by the IRS, you usually have to bring in professional help to defend you and to take you through this. And a lot of those people can't afford something like this. So I think it is a concern for the American people. And if somehow the author of that opinion piece thinks that the American people trust the IRS otherwise, and that the GOP are lending out to some way to create distrust, that's a real misrepresentation of what's going on. And I think back on the quote by Ronald Reagan, where, you know, hey, I'm from the government and I'm here to help. No one believes that. No one believes that. And frankly, I don't know where they're going to get 87,000 people to do these jobs that have an accounting background.
Right, $80 billion, 6 times the current IRS budget. Again, how about just being upset about the waste of that? And Jonathan, I'm not talking about the criminal division of the IRS. They have agents who are law enforcement, who do carry guns. They are part of the investigative teams that investigate federal fraud, tax fraud and the like. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about people who work on audits, and the IRS does have already incredible power to freeze your bank accounts if they say you owe them money. And you have no recourse, to the congressman's point, but to either pay up or hire lawyers. And Janet Yellen, the Treasury Secretary, has admitted that the share won't go up of people, of middle and lower income people being audited, but that's the share, not the total number.
Are you asking Jonathan, or are you asking me?
No, Jonathan, your mic is not working, so we'll get that fixed. But Congressman, you can respond to that.
Yeah, no, I'd be glad to. You framed it perfectly. And people are trapped. You know, the government, first of all, when it comes to audits and things like that, and the powers that the IRS already has, in most cases, they don't need guns. But I understand there's the Criminal Investigation Division, and that's a separate thing. But you know, what's really interesting, too, in all of this, you're trying to recoup money. How about all the fraud that has taken place from the unemployment insurance, the unemployment benefits that went out during COVID? It's estimated $400 billion. And, you know, when we were having the markup on Ways and Means for Build Back Better, I offered an amendment to go after fraud. The Democrats voted it down. They voted it down. Most of this is foreign anyway, and we should be actually going after all of that. But I was assured by the Ways and Means chairman that, you know, you make a very good point, and we need to do that. And he told me off the record, I'm going to talk to Nancy Pelosi about this. We have to do something. We have not had one hearing about the fraud that has just ripped off the American taxpayer time and time again. Nothing has happened there.
Jonathan, jump in here.
Yeah, I would advise any American small business who is penalized by the IRS at some time in the future to just contact this author who said that the big bad Republicans were bad-mouthing and talking about this so-called boogeyman, right? Because I can tell you the IRS does have a substantial amount of power. They can freeze accounts. Not only that, they can do automatic withdrawals. I mean, and I would just ask this question. I mean, what is it really going to take for these authors and people on the left who are writing these columns, not just in the Washington Post and whatnot, to actually come to some sense of reality and to stop assuming that people on the right and people who are right to actually to take us seriously and to take real concern seriously and understand that the IRS is not just some so-called scapegoat here. It's real trouble.
I would add to that too that we want people to pay their taxes as according to the law. We're the party of law and order, and so we do want people to pay their taxes appropriately. But these seem to be witch hunts and going after people, and it's going to be targeted. And look, you already saw what Lois Lerner did in the IRS, where she specifically went after conservative groups. Tell me there's not reason to be concerned when we have the IRS taking action like this.
Right. Do we know why she took the fifth? I still don't think we know.
Yeah, and I don't know that we'll ever know. Maybe someday.
Congressman Brad Wenstrup, great to see you this morning. Have a terrific weekend. Thank you.